Welcome to the Get Organized HQ podcast. I'm your host, Tasha Lawrence. Every week, we share practical strategies for less stress and more peace as we dive into all topics life and home organization. I'm so glad you're here for this week's episode. Welcome back to the Get Organized HQ podcast. This is our season 1 finale. Thank you so much for coming along throughout this year of Get Organized HQ podcast episodes. We've heard from so many amazing guests with their various perspectives on things that are working for them in their homes and routines and systems, and some of the things that aren't working for them. I think it can be really helpful to hear that even some of the organizing superstars that we see online, not everything is always humming along smoothly for them either. And we've covered so many different organizing topics throughout this. And don't forget, if you missed any of the previous episodes, just because season 1 is wrapping up and we are not going to have new episodes airing of the Get Organized HQ podcast doesn't mean that you can't go back and pick up any of those episodes that you might have missed. But today, I just wanted to leave you with 5 principles to carry with you through this holiday season and into the new year. All right, so if I were to boil things down to 5 organizing principles to take with you for less stress and more peace in your life and home, here is what they would be. And the first is to decide what is most important to you. It can be really easy anytime you're trying to tackle a new goal to kind of get distracted and to think that the goal itself is the end in and of itself. So, what I mean by that is that we can think that the goal is to organize and to declutter and to clean. Or if you have a fitness goal, the goal is to go to the gym. The goal is to eat healthy, but try and take a step back and say, what is the reason for the goal? A lot of people call this finding their why. But I would say decide what's most important to you. What is the thing that you are really pursuing? And when it comes to cleaning, decluttering, organizing, they're really a means to an end. Because I think what a lot of people are pursuing is feeling at peace in their own home, feeling like they can come home from work at the end of the day and take a deep breath and not feel stressed by their home. Like they can keep up with things like laundry and eating every day. Sometimes I have totally been the person to say it's ridiculous that these people need to eat every single day, right? Like I cooked yesterday. Don't I get credit for cooking yesterday? Why do we need to eat again today? And not only do people have to eat every day, people eat multiple times a day. And so it's not even enough to be like, okay, I nailed it on dinner. Well, what about lunch? What about breakfast? What about afternoon snack? Things like that. But realizing what the end goal is. And so not getting so distracted by the organizing and decluttering and cleaning systems that we forget that the real goal is to have less stress and more peace in our lives and homes, to have good connection and relationship with the people in our homes, and to just feel more at peace. That's the only way that I know how to put it, to feel less stress and more peace. We say it all the time, but that is what we are after in our homes. The second thing I would say is do not forget to pick up where you left off, okay? It is incredibly normal to kind of ebb and flow when it comes to organizing and decluttering. You'll be super motivated, super on fire, making all this progress, decluttering, taking tons of things to donation centers. You're going room by room, and like you are just on a roll and on fire. And then something happens. Maybe you got sick. Maybe work got really busy. Maybe you went on a vacation. Maybe you just got burned out. You were doing so much work and doing so well, and you were just like, oh, I just want to take a break. And that is okay. Pausing is not a problem. The only time that it becomes a problem is when you pause and you never come back. And so learn the art of picking up where you left off, whether it's been a week or 3 weeks or 3 months or a year, continue to pick up where you left off and say, okay, I was on a roll. I was really excited and motivated. I was making progress towards my goals. What is the next right step? And don't beat yourself up for pausing. And yes, sometimes if you've taken a pause, especially a longer pause, maybe there is some backtracking to do, so to speak. Maybe there are some places where you'd cleaned this or you deep cleaned that or you'd organized or decluttered that. And it's already time to revisit that again. But don't let that get you discouraged. Just pick up where you left off, doing I love the phrase, do the next right thing, right? So, what is the next right thing that'll get you on your way towards your goal? Pick up where you left off and start again. And if you end up pausing again, if you take another break, that's perfectly fine. Just learn to come back and pick up again. And if you are going to keep coming back, if you can learn that skill, then you pretty much cannot fail because you're always going to be coming back. You're going to keep making progress. That is what is going to prevent everything from falling back to exactly the way that it was. If you can learn just the skill of continuing to take small steps forward, even if you've taken a break for who cares how long. The next thing I would say, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that, but don't fret if you need to re-declutter or reorganize a space, because the other thing is, this is incredibly normal. We are all going through seasons of life. We're also learning to declutter. Decluttering, we've often described it here at Get Organized HQ as a muscle. It's something that you strengthen. The more that you do it, the better you get at it. Um, and also your needs for your home are changing. So all three of these things, seasons of life are changing, your needs are changing, and your decluttering muscle is getting stronger. And so these things are going to mean that a space that was once decluttered and organized in the future very well may not be decluttered and organized. So first of all, seasons of life change. So maybe when you first went through and you were decluttering, you were super into paper crafting. You were card making all the time. You were using all your card making supplies. 2 years later, maybe you've kind of fallen out of love with it, or you found a different craft that you enjoyed more. You used to do a lot of paper crafting. Now you're really enjoying sewing and doing more fabric based crafts. That's just a season, that's just a change. The same with your needs changing for what you need for a space. Whether you have kids living at home or the kids have moved out, or maybe you have grandkids who are coming over regularly, or they were coming over regularly and you were babysitting and now they're not, or you were working full time, or you were working and you needed a specific wardrobe for where you were working and now you're not working in that place. Like all of these different things, these changes are going to change what we need. They're going to change the stuff we need, and they're also going to change how we need it organized. If you were working full time, how you approached eating dinner, preparing and eating and everything around dinner probably looks different than if you've now retired and maybe you found a new love for cooking. And so you are spending way more time in the kitchen than you used to. You have way more ingredients and things to organize and to figure out where they all go than you used to. So these things are constantly shifting and changing. And so that is just naturally going to mean that a space that once was working really well for you and your family, it might need to be revisited. And that does not mean that you failed the first time. It just means that there was a change and that something can be tweaked to be even better fit to serve you and your family right now. And then I want to talk about your decluttering muscle getting stronger. So, the very first time that you go through and declutter, there's probably a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of those questions of what if I need this someday? Or what if I have to, rebuy this? Or what if I get rid of the wrong thing? Like lots of those what if questions. And that's really, really normal. And I also think it's really normal to leave things in your space and to say, well, I'm wanting to declutter, but these, Valentine's Day themed paper plates, like we might have a Valentine's party someday, and I would totally use these, and I don't want to have to rebuy them, so I'm going to leave them right here. But as you go through and you declutter more and more areas, maybe you've gotten through most of your house already and you've decluttered a lot of your house, and now you're maybe starting a second go round, or maybe you had these all stored in a closet that you had decluttered, some more stuff had gotten stashed in there, and you're ready to go through and declutter again. And you started your decluttering journey 12 months ago, 2 years ago, however long ago, and you come back and you revisit it and you see those Valentine's Day plates again, and you're thinking, you know, 18 months ago, I said I thought I might use these for a Valentine's Day party, and 2 Valentine's Days have come and gone, and we did not use them. And I forgot that I even had them. And that is what I mean by your decluttering muscle getting stronger, of having more confidence to say, okay, when I was first decluttering, I was really nervous I might need these. But now I've kind of proved to myself that I can make really good decisions about what I actually need and don't need. And these are probably something I can part with. And that is something to celebrate. That is not something to look back on 2 years ago you and say, oh, why did I not get rid of these then? No, this is all normal and part of the process. That is something to say, wow, look how far I've come. I am more confident in my decluttering skills, more confident in getting rid of things because I've practiced. And so all those things together, they just mean that we are forever going to be Organizing and decluttering and rearranging our spaces to fit the seasons of life that we're in, to fit the different needs that we have, and also as our decluttering muscles get stronger and we feel more confident making decluttering decisions. And so you absolutely did not fail if you find yourself re-decluttering or reorganizing a space. So many times I hear people ask, how do I keep my space decluttered? And it depends a little bit on what you mean by that question, but I wonder if sometimes what people are experiencing is some of the natural ebb and flow, and the fact that revisiting our spaces is completely normal. And remember that if you have decluttered a space previously, even if you're coming back to it and decluttering it again, the work you did previously is making it easier this go around. It really is. Because if you had never decluttered it in the first place, you would have all of the stuff that had been added to the space, plus the stuff that you got rid of the first time around, and you'd be having to tackle that entire project. But you've strengthened that decluttering muscle. You've gotten rid of things that you're not having to deal with this time that you're going through. You have made it easier on yourself, and you absolutely have not failed. The next thing that I want to remind you is that when you're feeling unmotivated, take a small action, whatever that is. Washing the dishes, cleaning off a shelf in the refrigerator, decluttering your junk drawer, running a load of laundry, folding a load of laundry, organizing your socks and underwear drawer, just a small action. Dawn from the Minimal Mom is the first one I remember saying this, that momentum matters more than motivation. And when she said that, like, this has stuck with me. It was years ago at the Get Organized HQ virtual conference that she said that. And she's so right. She is so right. When we're sitting around and we're waiting to feel motivated, we're almost never going to be able to sit there and motivate ourselves. I mean, maybe a little bit, like you could kind of try to pep talk yourself up. Like you could call a friend and be like, oh, I really know I need to do this. But like, it's hard, okay? It is really hard, and especially when you're dragging, okay? I've had those days where I'm just like, I am not feeling motivated. Let me tell you. I just don't. Like I look at my to-do list and I'm just thinking, I don't want to do any of this. Thank you. But momentum matters more than motivation. And so you absolutely can get something checked off your list, whether you're feeling motivated or not. Like it still counts. Isn't that the awesome thing? Like you can drag yourself through the actions of doing a load of laundry. I mean, you can hate every second of it. You can be like, oh, I do not want to be taking this laundry out to the dryer, or I do not want to be folding these socks. But the awesome thing is that when you make yourself do it, it's still done. Like you don't have to want to do any piece of it. You still get credit for accomplishing the thing, right? Isn't it awesome that we can still make credit or we can still make progress, I should say, even when we don't feel like doing something? I think that is fantastic. And also, so often, what you will find is that when you start to build that momentum, like when you get the load of laundry folded, or you get the dishes washed, or you declutter the junk drawer, or whatever it is that you decide to tackle, whatever small thing it is, it's often easier to do the next thing. And even if it's not, even if you stop right there, you still made progress. You still got something done. And so just remember when you're feeling unmotivated, say, okay, I'm not feeling motivated. How can I get momentum going? That is the real root question that's going to make a really big difference. And then the very last thing I want to leave you with, and this kind of ties back to what we talked about at the beginning with deciding what's most important to you. But remember that the goal is less stress and more peace. And so if you're trying to follow a system and it's making you more stressed, then that system probably is not serving its purpose, right? And so there's so many different systems and checklists and ways to approach things out there, whether you're talking about organizing or decluttering or doing the laundry or cleaning or doing the dishes or time management. There's tons and tons of different ways that people approach this. But do not let some system that you're trying to follow be the cause of further stress. Don't let it be the thing that you're like, oh no, like I'm off track of the system. And so I'm feeling stressed because I was supposed to clean out all the trash cans yesterday and I didn't get to it. Or I was supposed to do it 3 weeks ago and I didn't get to it. Right. And so finding the rhythms and the systems that are really serving you and are really producing less stress and more peace. And I think remembering the difference between less stress and more peace versus everything is easy. They're not the same thing, right? Because I was just talking about sometimes you're going to feel really unmotivated. And there's a difference between stress and a lack of motivation. A lack of motivation is when you're staring at a load of laundry and you're thinking, this is the last thing that I want to do. This does not sound like fun. But stress is when you're getting ready in the morning and you realize I don't have any clean socks. Like that is what we're talking about when we say stress. That now there's a problem and now I don't know what to do. I don't have time to run a load of laundry and clean my socks. I mean, am I just going to wear a dirty pair of socks? Is it warm enough out? Can I wear sandals today? That kind of thing. And so that is what stress is. Um, and so we are pursuing less stress and more peace. And sometimes you can have a system where the system is kind of bullying you, right? The system is pushing you around and it's making you feel like you're behind and it's putting these expectations on you that even if you were meeting those expectations, like wiping out the inside of your trash can, is that going to make you feel less stressed tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. And so just remembering the goal is less stress and more peace. And if we're having less stress and more peace, we're achieving the goal for a more organized home. So, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode and so many others of season 1 of the Get Organized HQ podcast. I wish you a wonderful holiday season. And of course, as always, less stress and more peace in your life and home.